Well, hello, and happy Thursday, Dragon family. Araya coming on, so I'll give you a few minutes here to pop on. I know I'm a couple minutes late. Sorry about that. So hello. For those of you that don't know me yet, my name is Araya Anra. I am a psychic medium, energy healer, and life coach, and one of my predominant tasks in this life is to be a guide for those that are connected to the dragons. The dragon realms are a home place for me, a home space, and where I emanate from, where many of you do as well. And I came through with a book about 11 years ago to work with their energies, to work with them, call them in, and I do programs and one-on-one sessions and dragon readings and all kinds of things to get people connected to the dragons, to their dragons, to the dragon realms, to all of the dragons. And excited to say we have the first week of the Eye of the Dragon program just started this week. What a wonderful group I have together. It's powerful and amazing. And hello, Chris, one of my Dragon Hearts from last year. Good to see you. Also very excited. Hi, Tina. Nice to see you. That the book club kicks off 2 weeks from today. And it is technically full, but I have one person that hasn't actually paid yet. So I was trying to hold that spot for them, but with 2 weeks out, I need to fill it. So if you are keen on it, please get a hold of me right away. That one spot could be yours, and we'll go from there. But it's a dynamic group that's come together, a very international group, which I love. Those are always super fun. Hello, Rachel. And let's see, I've seen a couple other people pop on, so I apologize if I didn't get your name up there. So today, just going into some more questions. I've had some great questions come up from people. Some of them were on that previous live where we had the live mini readings, and wanted to make sure and get all of those answered because there were a few in the comments that I didn't get to. So this one was posted from Nikki Colley. Hello, back east. She's in the eastern United States, probably as cold as I am here. I know some of you guys can experience it and some of you don't, but we're in winter here in Reno. It's finally hit here in the middle of February, and it's like in the 30s today, and I don't know why. I was in the teens last night. It was 18 degrees this morning, and for those of you overseas, you don't know what Fahrenheit means, but it's below freezing, so it's cold. I've got my coat, my vest on in the house. I just can't get warm today. I don't know why. I've got the heat cranked up, but enjoying just being here with you guys and going to address some questions. So Nikki Colley back east, I know that she's probably in some cold land too. They're getting some good storms. Had a great question. She said, do dragons only work one-on-one or with multiple people at once? And looking ahead at the questions that are up today, because there's so many dragons, very similar to us, you have to sort of think of them as a population of beings like we are, right? There's probably billions of them. Maybe, I don't know if there's what's beyond billions, but there's, being one of the oldest realms, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of different places they emanate from, where they are spending time. And so just like us, they have their societal differences. And every dragon has its own autonomy. So some will work one-on-one with people. Some others may choose to work with several at once, just like the angels do. I know that angelic guides can be assigned to more than one person because they have the capacity to literally move in and out of time, space, or split themselves and be in multiple places at once. So the dragons are very similar. So I would say that it really depends on the dragon. And you can ask your dragon that. If you have a dragon guide working with you, you can ask, how many people are you working with? Do you come just to see me? Am I the only human that you're working with? Or where do you spend your time? And maybe you're not to the point where you can hear those answers yet or communicate directly in that way, but you can start a dialogue or start sensing answers and information just by working out a communication relationship with them. So whether it's a dragon or an angel guide, you can set up the parameters of how you want to communicate if you don't have a direct hearing, sight, whatever way to get that. The way I usually recommend to start very gently is to use yes or no questions. Always say it as yes or no. And ask your guide to show you how they can communicate a yes versus a no. Quite often with the dragons especially, you will feel either heat or cold on one side of the body. You might feel pressure coming against a certain side of your body. I like to delineate left and right, so if I want my dragon to speak to me in a certain way, I might say, okay, use my right side for yes and my left side for no. And then I'll wait and say, okay, so show me heat on my right side for yes. Can you show me that? And see if you pick up and feel that heat generating, feel a difference. Others, because we're more kinetic or might be more sensitive to pressure against us, they might stand on the right side, or you might get warmth and pressure against the right side. So starting those dialogues with yes, no questions is super helpful. But, some of these questions are more for our mental curiosity, just to start understanding them, and then we get into higher levels of questions from them. They're really here to bring more information than that to us. But, out of curiosity, how many people are you working with? Do you come just for me? Are you my family member? Is that why you're here with me? What's our relationship? Are we family? Are you a cousin? Or are you part of me? And when you start getting into that and getting into understanding the difference between maybe your dragon guide and yourself as dragon. And quite often we start with dragon guides because we're not able to accept or move into the space of really acknowledging ourselves as dragon first. So the dragon starts showing up around us to be sort of that bridge of communication, of just bringing you back into the fold of feeling the dragons around, loving that energy and remembering it. And as you start to remember more and spend more time with those, a lot more starts to wake up within you. So Nikki, I hope that answers your question. I see a few more people on the call now. I'm just gonna, oh, sorry. I shouldn't be doing that above the little camera. Hello, Liz. And we've got Lisa and Willow and Leone down in South Africa, and Manuel Ortiz. I think he's back in New York as well. Not positive. Sorry if I got that wrong, Manuel, but nice to see you. So second question that was on from a previous comment was how my dragon or dragon guide feels different than my other guides. And it's sort of along the same lines of being able to feel them. So all of us that are in human form have angelic guides. We have a human form guide that is from the angelic realms. That is, one is our guide and one is our guardian. So you do have a guardian angel. They are assigned from birth and are with us all the step of the way to help us navigate through this human experience. Those of us that are connected to the dragon realms usually start having at some point in our journey, especially when we are starting to awaken to that greater spiritual aspect of ourselves, of the world, of how things work beyond the 3D realm. When we start getting into that deeper spiritual journey, then the dragon guides start to show up, for those of us that are really deeply connected to the dragon realms. And they will feel different in the sense that, how would I describe it? They feel bigger. They're definitely much bigger. You're going to feel a stronger presence. You're going to feel a lot more deeper heart hit as far as a family connection, maybe a deeper emotional connection with them because of that. And I find that even though the angelic realm beings can be quite jovial and humorous, I find the dragons to have just a bit more of a playful, sort of mischievous type energy with them. They love to play. They love to get you to play. And they're not all about seriousness. Not that the angels are all seriousness. They're very, jovial and happy, and they like to joke, but it seems like there's just this little mischievous, playful quality to the dragons that I pick up on most of the time. I find them quite funny and entertaining to interact with, especially when I'm actually getting to engage with my clients and their dragons and get to introduce them to their dragons or help them see the dragons that are around them. On that same note, with Nikki's question, there was the aspect of, are they working with just one person or multiple people? Well, you also have the aspect that you can work with multiple dragons. So you might have one predominant dragon guide working with you that sort of stands out from the crowd, but you might actually have a host of dragons coming in to work with you. And that will feel different as well, because you will have almost like feeling like a crowd around you. If you pick up on energy and can feel that in a room, you might actually wake up at times or come out of a meditation and feel like the room is just packed because there's all these really big, massive dragons sitting in your space. I've seen one person that had 5 or a team of 5 working with them. I have been in session with clients where all around the sphere that we're working in, there were like hundreds coming in for something specific. And those are usually family units. Those are the big ones that come in and they're like, all right, they finally bridged through this specific doorway, because when we pass a certain doorway or a certain level in our expansion, all of a sudden there's like no going back, and there's a new level of connection that's available to specific realms of our family, and they can all of a sudden like meet us halfway. It's like we've gotten to a certain place, and more of them can come into a certain space. So you will have more families show up in that space, and you'll be able to sense and feel that when they're around. So that's how I would express the dragon guide feeling different than your angelic guides. Great thing to contemplate. And I love the questions that come up, because they do really make me think about things that I just take for granted or haven't really spent time delving into. I'll go into one more question, then I'll save some more for next week. But I had someone email me a list of questions, and these were just really sort of fun and interesting, because they're not things that I sit and ponder necessarily or go back and I haven't tried to go back and remember, but they're great for me to do that. So one of them, the first one is, how do dragons live? Also in their own realms, in caves, or in house-type like structures, crystal grid structures? Are they solitary or mainly living close to others and family members? So there again, we've got this comparison to like clusters of human beings. All of us are different, right? All of us have tendencies to either want to be sort of solitary, some like to be very social, some like to live in big family units. Culturally, there's, like when I lived in Hawaii, the Filipino community, they would have 3 or 4 generations living in one household. Or the Japanese communities, that's quite common. Whereas the American, like mainland communities, we're used to sort of branching out and having the family spread out all over the United States, where brothers and sisters move states apart, and we travel a lot more to visit each other, but tend to be in more solitary units. Well, the dragons, the star beings, the angels, they're all very similar. They all have their own personality characteristics, and so would have the same types of divisions as far as who they live or around. Do they live in big colonies? My experience and memory is that, yes, the dragons typically live in colonies, and yet within that they do have a sacred space to go to where it's their own lair type space. And that could be very similar to us with our bedroom. Like my bedroom is my sacred private space, right? As far as structures that they live in, I am not familiar with or have any recall or memory of anything other than a cave type structure around me. Granted, in those realms, because I'm associating that through my 3D experience and mind, when I go in and even just sitting with that question right now, having it come in, and when I envision the cave space, yes, in other dimensional places, those caves are more like geometric structures, because everything is very different outside this realm where it's 3D matter. And even, when we see and experience dragons in form, it's because they're coming into a certain level of dimensional drop down for us to perceive them in that way. But in their truest form of a being, they're actually geometric structures themselves. They are actually just like form or energetic signature that it only takes form in certain dimensional places where it needs to. In the form that we know it. So it's one of those questions that is sort of beyond the limits of what our mental capacity can maybe wrap itself around, if that makes sense. So I hope it's answering that question and sort of putting it out there for you guys to even contemplate and feel. You might have memory of a dragon realm that I haven't been to, or a place that your dragons hail from where like you do live in different types of structures. And feel free to share that in the comments. I would love to see and hear all of those, because I, being a dragon from a specific area of the dragon realms, in all the universes, have I visited all of them? Have I been and explored all of the different places that there are to explore? No, I haven't. So I'm excited as a soul to experience those things down the road. But I love the questions. I love the things that people are starting to generate and think about the dragons in more of a capacity of them being actual beings, and contemplating where do they live, what are their lives like. And we'll talk more about that next week. And as I said, so much exciting happening right now. The book club kicks off in 2 weeks. I am going to offer that one space up. It's technically booked, but hasn't been paid for, so it's up for grabs. If you're wanting it, please get a hold of me. And I will be announcing tomorrow the Sacred Tibet with the Dragon's Journey. I am beyond excited about this. Tibet has been in my field for over 20 years, of a place that I knew that I would get to at some point. I have a lot of soul memory of being there. I have a lot of connection to, in meditation and energetics, myself in human form there in different time zones, in time-space continuum insertion points. And the time is now. It's finally come up that there's work to do with the dragons in Tibet, Mount Kailash specifically, but all along there's a 14-day journey we're going to do that's going to go from Jining, China, all the way down through Lhasa and across to Zanda and the Guje Kingdom. So there is significance to the dragon that's in the land there, and all of the different points along that, and a greater geographic significance to where that whole region lies in between two much larger grid points connected with the dragons down in the Democratic Republic of Congo and in Japan in Mount Fuji. So big energetics happening. This is a big activation trip with me as the personal guide on the trip. I'm going to take up to 15 people, no more, but I will actually fully announce it tomorrow with a post. So be watching for that in the group, because those 15 spots are going to be it, and that's going to be the big trip for this year. There are going to be workshops in Montreal region in Quebec, Canada, both in French and English, in May 25th and 26th. So putting that out there for you guys that are up in that region. I will be notifying of that as soon as we have the location nailed down. And I'm also trying to put together an itinerary for Europe in June, early July, end of June, early July, to do workshops over there in France for all my French contingency, as well as potentially in the Netherlands. So if you're in Europe, you're English or French speaker, and you are wanting to do a workshop, been waiting for one to come your way, please let me know so that I can sort of hone in on where specifically, because I'm putting the itinerary together right now, and you might have a chance to have it closer to home for you if you let me know now versus later. All right, so always love coming to see you guys. Stay warm if you're in a cold zone, and if you're in a warm zone, send us some of that heat. I need to get my dragons around me and just stoke up the fire here. So anyway, I always love spending time with you guys. I look forward to next week. And until then, watch for that post about Sacred Tibet. It's going to be a massive trip of a lifetime. And some big shifts, I think, will come for the planet itself from that trip. So have a great one. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.